Oops.
All right, we got Do Not Disturb on telephones.
Turn on Do Not
Yours is over there,
Disturb.
isn't it? No
Sound
service in
is
here, too. I'm
on.
turning mine off. What, make sure the ringer's off?
Yeah, I think it is. It usually
Your ringer's
is.
always off.
It's going to take my medal. I'm so sorry. I'm running the St. Jude full, and I'm running for you. And I was like, oh, crap. I can't get out of that. I promised Vivian. I said,
And then you turned to me and said, and you're
yeah,
doing it with
and
it.
then
You know, were you ever at my house?
I was.
Did I run around just being a little bastard?
I don't remember.
And we happened to be at a restaurant with Gary's brother because he was going to run it with us when they canceled it.
Me and my brother were like,
So,
another
yeah,
bottle
they're
of
like,
wine.
he was like, get some more drink. The manager saw me crying and came and bought
Gave us a
us
bunch
drinks.
of free stuff.
And so Gary's brother's like, Matt's
crying.
like, keep crying.
People do things like that for you. Only you can cry in a bar and they send you more drinks. Every time I start crying in a bar, they threw me out. Gary, there's a whole world out there for you that
Oh, no. Here we go.
I really want you to be a part of. Here we go. Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast, episode number 49. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at LiftRunLong. Also, feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and be sure to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. It's very, very important that you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. So please go do that right now.
That is pretty important. You go do that.
It's very important, and I love getting them. And if you leave us a review, then I'll read it on the show.
Boom. You got one to read right now?
How is that? I don't.
Oh, man.
I don't. But I have some neat things to say about what's been going on the podcast. But first, I'm going to introduce the hottest woman in the world who's sitting here to my right, the fantastic and beautiful, highly educated Dr. Amanda Horrell, also
everyone.
known as Jacked and Tan.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing?
Doing well.
It's good to see you. I just can't get enough of you.
I know we've been together almost all day.
I don't see you often enough. And across from me, who's also jacked, tan, educated, and about to be a finisher in a 100-mile race, but we'll get to all that. Mm-hmm. Reverend Vaughn Rawls.
You don't know how many people have asked me if he's a preacher.
Are you serious?
Yes.
A preacher?
Because he calls you Reverend.
A preacher in the comic book sense, that's kind of cool, but like, I don't know.
I would go with it.
Wow.
There's worse things to be called. They could be asking if you're a drug dealer.
No, definitely worse things to be called, but who? I want to talk about that a little more. Like, who was that?
Preach.
And the guest that we have with us today is Gary and Kathy Owens.
Yay,
And
hi.
Gary and Kathy are two of my favorite people who I've come to know through CrossFit and running. I met you, Kathy, I guess through Vaughn, and I don't even think that I went through the phase of introducing myself or us getting to know each other in the traditional way. I just kind of took you in as a friend. I was like, I like that lady right there.
Me too.
And I saw you on all the, on all the CrossFit posts and out running and whatnot. So we just kind of came fast friends just automatically.
Mm-hmm. We talked a lot during a lot of races, too,
Yeah.
when we both wanted to quit. I
That's
do
right.
remember that. And you kept me going, and that was pretty awesome.
That's been fun for us to. We're about the same pace, and we're always either like one surge of energy ahead or behind the other. So I know if I get excited, maybe I can get up and get a conversation with you, or fall back. And, I get to see Gary and have conversations with him. And we usually get together while we're running and bitch about deadlifts. The reason one of us is sore is because we deadlifted that week.
We had that conversation.
We can talk
Say
about
that's why we're running slow. Those darn deadlifts.
That's the excuse.
It's all CrossFit's fault.
Yeah, I've tried to use like that. I'm 6 months pregnant, so it's slowing me down. But deadlift seems to go over much easier.
That's actually really cool because there's not a whole lot of other people you encounter in races that understand that.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
It's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's nice to have somebody to converse with while you're running and talk about something other than running. So I want to talk about some things that have been going on before we get too far into Gary and Kathy. I want to talk about some neat things that happened this week through LHRL. One being Max's podcast. We had a friend of ours from the UK who has followed Lift Heavy Run Long and has started a podcast that is his journey to the 50-mile 400 deadlift club in Lift Heavy Run Long. And he's dedicated it to documenting, his progress. And he's a big guy. He's actually deadlifted 585 pounds.
Jeez.
So
that's
the deadlift,
a lot of pounds.
That's a lot of poundage. He said he dropped 600 pounds at a competition, at the top.
Yeah.
Makes my back hurt.
Doesn't it though?
Yeah.
But that big fella is going to set out to run 50 miles.
That's amazing.
Good for him.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
that's pretty awesome. Wilson sent a text to me and Amanda the other day saying, telling us that he had started a podcast documenting his trip to the 5400 club. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like somebody is doing a podcast, some idea I had like 6 or 7 years ago. That's awesome.
On the other side of the world.
On the other side of the world.
Yeah.
Like, how cool is that?
Or wherever the United Kingdom is. I'm not real geographically.
It's in Ireland. Remember?
So, and he's a funny guy. He does stand-up comedy. He's got a podcast already, and he also does a YouTube review on various chocolate milks. So if you're into chocolate milk,
Wow.
you can check him out. His website is maxkh.com. And his podcast is the Mirthology Podcast, MIRTHOLOGY podcast. And something else neat that happened, if you recall last week, we talked about Brenda Haskell, who had written us the email and she was going to start CrossFit. Had wanted to for a while.
right.
Well, she did. She's already
Nice.
started day one. She sent me an email letting me know that she killed it. She was 20 years older than the rest of the people in fundamentals, but
That's awesome.
she stuck with it and she blogged about it. She has a blog
Oh, sweet.
that is 40pluslife.wordpress.com.
Nice.
Very awesome.
So go check out Brenda's blog, and she'll be telling you about her progress in CrossFit from day one, which should be fun.
Cool.
It's nice to hear all these people being motivated.
Isn't it? To set out doing this, I thought if we could motivate one person, that would be awesome. And now one has turned into quite a few, and we get dropped emails and letters every week, and that to me, that's a life more incredible than I ever dreamt of leading.
Yeah, that's the best.
It is the best. And I don't take any of that stuff lightly. To get an email, we had talked about one podcast before that I went to the mailbox and I received a handwritten, self-addressed envelope to Beefcake. And I opened it up and there was a letter, that was just very I just broke down crying walking up the driveway reading it. So it means a lot to me, and I don't take it lightly. So we have you guys with us. So nice of y'all to be willing to come on here.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you.
We really appreciate it.
It's such a small world. You and I guess, you and my brother Ted
Yeah.
grew up doing the band thing.
Yeah, we were friends in the original band that he was in called the Stickmen, and then that led to me being in all these other bands, and we just kind of knew each other, I don't know, from 16 years old to about 24, then lost touch. And then I knew you for a year or two. And I'm like, wait a minute. Is your brother Ted?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I found out that I knew him really well then and know you very well now, so it's very cool.
Well,
Well,
and Ted had pointed that out, and he was like, "Man, Gary's gotten fit. You know, what the hell are y'all doing?" You know, and
Yeah,
he
what'd you
did
do to
CrossFit for a little while.
Oh, did he?
And he backed it down, and he's over at, I'd say backed it down. He went over to Orange Theory,
Okay.
and
Cool.
he's enjoying that. But yeah, small world, and you know, for
crazy.
somebody to point you out and then think, I hope Gary didn't see me at my worst. You know, were you ever at my house?
I was.
Did I run around just being a little bastard?
I don't remember.
You don't.
Ran around naked.
I don't. That was a long time ago.
I used to get I was so like obnoxious, you know, and young and having an older brother. And so when y'all would come over, I thought y'all were so cool. You know, y'all are like rock stars. Y'all are literally like rock stars in my eyes. So the only way I knew to connect was to act like a little asshole.
I don't remember.
Not you.
And so I run into people all the time and I think, does that person just despise me?
You got to remember, I was in a bunch of bands those days. I don't remember much.
Yeah.
From those days.
Amanda and I started going to church where I grew up going to church.
Okay.
And so in between church and Sunday school, for me, it's really high anxiety because I don't know who I'm going to pass that remembers me from years ago. And I'm always afraid some counselor is going to come up and take
There's
me by
that
the
Wilson
throat.
guy.
Yeah.
Aw.
That's funny.
You must have not damaged them too bad because they called asking to see when I was going to join.
They called asking you about joining. I don't think my name came up.
Can you leave your husband at home?
Because you're already a member, so they're just trying to get me in now.
Okay, well, I'm a church goer. We're church going. All right, so tell me, how'd y'all get into all this? How'd y'all get into running first or CrossFit?
Running.
Okay,
She was first.
all right.
Yeah, the Desoto Runners Club, which we're part of, was developed out of the DAC, the Desoto Athletic Club. A girl named Brooke, who was an instructor there, she started it probably 8 years ago.
At least.
And she said, you know, oh, this is a chance for all of us to learn how to run. Let's all sign up for the St. Jude. And so we all signed up for the half marathon and started training. And
When you say you all signed up, how many people was it at that time?
gosh, it wasn't that many. It was mostly people from the DAC. So it's like that were in her group fitness classes and stuff. So it's probably maybe 30 of us tops. It wasn't very many. And
30
at
is a
that
lot of
time,
people.
yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
and at that time, I think we were called the South Haven Runners Club, running club or something. And in fact, our friend Alan found a shirt that was from when we first started. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, I don't even have one of those anymore. I was like, I think I threw it away.
How many years ago was that?
It was probably about 8. 8 years. It might be going on 9. But yeah, Brooke did it. She, a funny story is that we all trained for the St. Jude half, and so we go to the race and everything. And at that time, they had the letters up that so you can meet people at letter O, after the race. And so we were all meeting at this letter, and I got there, and I'm drenched with sweat, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I look at Brooke. She's completely dry, makeup, and I said, what did you do? I said, you freaking didn't run, did you? And she didn't. They took a detour and went to Denny's
Mile
and
3.
ate.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
Oh, my goodness.
I was so mad, but then it was hilarious.
Oh, wow.
So, needless to say, she didn't remain a runner for long. And so,
That's hilarious.
yeah, she's like, I really don't like this running thing.
So she was fit. She conned y'all into getting fit by running, and then
she
hauled
went
out.
to
We kept
Denny's.
going.
So
Well, she formed what's now a big running club. That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah. So after about after a little bit, she kept with it for a little bit, and then she said, "Look, I really don't want to do this anymore. Do you want to take it on?" So I took it on, and at the time, Gary wasn't running with us yet. I had to. He can tell you
Well, funny story.
funny story.
I came one morning and about 10 of them were getting ready to run, but I don't know if everybody was there yet. And she introduced me and said, Gary's going to be on the course. It was the middle of July. handing out waters. And I think we had a minivan at the time. If we didn't, it makes the story even better. And so I go to like mile 6 or 7, and so there's a strange guy on the side of the road with a van going as people ran by, you want some water? And there were some people who didn't hear the announcement that it was going to be me. So I remember this guy, Daryl, literally was like, no, like, who are you? There's a strange guy handing out water in the middle of our run. And
He didn't get the memo, apparently.
and they were running down State Line, too. That was what's crazy.
it's
State
kinda
Line Road
dangerous.
with
Yeah.
That's kinda
no
weird.
median at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
But I think it's evolved since then. We got a lot better routes and stuff that we run, but no more State Line.
Yeah, that was one thing Brooke did is she would make great routes, but it was, when you start seeing dead animals every couple of feet, and I'm thinking I could be a dead person. I was like, the way they drive, I was like, why are we out here? This is really dangerous.
Not to
So,
mention the drivers around here are crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So if you run down a 2-lane road, you better
It's a
watch
big
out.
risk.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I went to the New York City Triathlon to watch my sister-in-law do it. So she's swimming in the Hudson River and biking up the Henry Hudson Parkway and running in Central Park, and we were both there to watch it. And that, I don't know, it was probably 7 years ago. I said, I want to do that. So that's kind of what got me into it. I started biking or cycling and running that year. I did Memphis in May the next year, and then ended up doing New York the next summer. And so did the New York City Tri, swam in the Hudson River and
Oh,
everything.
that's pretty cool.
It was
Wow.
cool. So
Yeah.
and at that point, then I was in the Desoto Runners Club too. And
So you jumped into it head first.
yeah, I needed something at that time. I was a smoker back then, and quit right after that, and started doing the training for the triathlon, and then here we are. So I've been doing a lot. I don't do tries anymore or anything like that. It's pretty much just running, and then of course CrossFit. Yeah, that's what got me started.
I was going to ask you, what kind of shape were you in when you started? You said that you were a smoker.
Oh, bad. Yeah, real bad. Probably 30 pounds heavier, and obviously still got a ways to go. But just I would do some 5Ks and stuff every once in a while, but never took it real serious.
Do you ever do any of the triathlons around here?
I don't do tries anymore. We just do, like I said, it's just the running, and then the CrossFit's enough for
Do
me.
you want to? You want to do the what's the one, the Mighty Mite? Not at
yeah,
all?
get him to commit to that. Yeah, go ahead.
It's a fun time. It's a sprint triathlon.
Yeah.
Amanda and I both have bikes
Oh, it was real fun.
that still have our numbers like
Yeah.
taped to our bikes from,
From 2 years
2 years
ago.
ago. That's how often we ride
Ours
our bikes.
is in the garage with
bike's sitting
dust
in the
settling
garage, yes.
on our nice bikes.
So I
but
feel obligated to do one.
if you do it, I'll do it.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
do it.
Oh dear.
Oh, all
Look at that.
right.
We'll have a good time.
Not me though.
It's a sprint,
I
right?
don't
So-
swim.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I don't either.
I didn't
And
like
I
that.
just like to
swim.
float in the water, recreationally, not no swimming for me.
Yeah, that
I
was
did
my,
it
that was my
indoor.
first try, and that was an eye opener to not be able to touch down when you got tired. That was, I don't know, I just wasn't
Yeah, I
expecting
think
that.
I would panic.
Yeah, that's not cool at all.
Yeah.
And Amanda had never clipped into a bike before until
yeah,
the
they
night.
changed, they changed
the
the
night
pedals.
before.
He
Yeah,
changed the pedals on my bike the night before, and I was out in the middle of the road falling over trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to clip in and
I
out.
did the same thing.
Me too.
So, yeah, that was. So, how did y'all meet? I want to back it up real quick.
The band.
The rock star.
Yes.
He
Yeah.
sucked you in.
Gary was in the band called Push Tom Down.
Really?
And I was a groupie. I would go watch the band, and in fact, I had a crush on the singer at one point. He would have nothing. Of course, every girl did. So,
Yeah.
Because
you
he's
know.
the singer.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's make sure he doesn't watch this
But
podcast.
What year is this?
gosh,
90
we were married in '94, so it was probably
93 through 97.
Yeah. And so I just started watching him, and his friend Derek was always there by himself, and he invited my friend and I to come sit at the table in the front. He was like, "Come sit with me," and I'm like, "Oh, well, who do you know in the band?" And he said, "Oh, the bass player." And I was like, "Really?" I said, "Introduce me." And so he introduced me, and ta-da!
We're married a year later, I think.
Yep.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Put the spell on you.
Mm-hmm.
Gary will do that. You got to watch him. He gets
we'll
you with,
be,
with those loving eyes of his, and you just can't
Stop.
can't turn it
Right.
off.
That's what it is.
Been
So
22
at
years.
Charm.
22 years.
No, it'll be 23. in
23
June.
soon. Yeah.
Yeah, 20. It'll be 20. Yeah.
23,
Oh,
June 24th.
is it 23 or 22? I can't remember.
23.
Yeah. No, actually, I think it is 22.
I don't know.
Anyway,
It's
it's
a
a
long
long time since '94. If anybody can do the math for us and figure it out, but we've been together a while.
And y'all are always doing fun stuff together. I love that. Y'all seem to stay young and healthy and always after it, and just look like you have a good time.
Oh, we do. We do. And it's nice to be able to compete together. I mean, there's times where one of us will be like, I can't do it. You go ahead, when we're running a race. And other times, the other one will poop out and say, you go ahead. And then the other time we're just like, no, we're doing this for fun.
We did the St. Louis half, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago? And it was we just ran together the whole time. It was fun.
Took pictures. And
she would want to slow down at some point, so we'd we'd both slow down. I'd want to slow down, and we'd just take turns. We're ready to go. Let's go. But we finished together. That was cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
it was.
Yeah.
And at the Twig half, he was doing so good. I was like, go. And it was kind of it was a little bit lonely because I was all by myself. And but we knew one of the guys that was doing the bike, that goes back and forth and checks on people. And so he would come and he'd go, okay, Gary's up, ahead. He's doing good. How are you? And he would check on me and then go back and forth. And then there was wonderful thing about having a running group. About 3 ladies that I just adore were behind me, but they were catching up with me. And so Ricky had said, they're behind you, they're coming, because I was having an asthma attack, I was having all these problems, and when you start to do that, you start to panic. And then I was just like, I can't do this. I'm just gonna walk. And he was like, you got this. And so my 3 friends came behind me, and they were like, we're not leaving you. We're not going to leave you. And well, then 2 of them, she said, she's like, go ahead. And so she stayed with me till the very end, Michelle. And I mean, there's just such a wonderful feeling that somebody would, and she would have PR'd is what I found out, is the other 2 ended up PRing, and they always end together. And I felt kind of bad. And she was like, no, I wasn't going to leave you. She goes, you're our leader. And I was like, oh, man. I mean, isn't
that great?
I boo-hooed. I really lost it.
Yeah.
And then the funny thing is I ended up placing in my age group after having a crappy race. But it's just stuff like that when you run with a running group and everybody, people of all different levels. There's bigger people, smaller people, really fast, real slow, people like me that are towards the back, and it's amazing to have a group like that where there's somebody always with you and somebody who's going to wait on you. And so that's been really cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Well, and it's clear that y'all enjoy it. Whenever I see y'all at races, I feel peace with that. It's good to know people that you know, and it's good to know people that are there to enjoy the race and aren't there to, just crush you and leave you sucking wind. And, y'all just seem like you enjoy the CrossFit that you do. You enjoy the running that you do, and you want to be the best versions of you that you can. And whatever comes about during the race or during the workout just kind of is, but not overly into it. And I like that.
Yeah, I'm not a PR girl. I'm not, people will say, oh, well, what time do you want to finish in? And I'm like, I want to finish. I just want to be in one piece and finish. And I'm 47. I'm, not that that's old, but I'm over the, I need to, do this in this amount of time, or I need to do an 8-minute mile or something. I just, I do what I can. And hey, if I do really, really good, I'm super proud of myself. Same thing in CrossFit. You modify what you have to modify, and other times you can RX something and surprise yourself. So
it's been the most gratifying thing about the whole journey with the Desoto Runners Club, just to watch, so many people, especially on Saturday mornings. I mean, pretty much every Saturday morning, there's either we're leading a run, or there's a group. If we're out of town or something, we always post, and somebody's always leading a run, and it provides accountability for people. There's been so many mornings where I didn't want to get out of bed to go do the Saturday run, and I complain all the way. I mean, we pull up to the parking spot. I'm like, I don't want to be here, and I get, hey, good morning. And then,
yeah, he lets it all out on me.
But then
first.
we run, and as soon as we're done running, you're so glad you did
went.
it. So there's accountability, and everybody we hang out with now is either from from the DRC or from CrossFit. I mean, all of our friends are from these activities. I mean, the Alan and Sonia Nip are our best friends, and I met them. I met Alan. I'm running in the Runners Club. Hey, how are you? And we've been hanging out ever since. I mean, so it's just been so fun to watch so many people learn how to run better. People PR. Some people do want to take it very seriously. Others just love just coming out and having a good time, running in the freezing cold, running in the super hot. But it's just so motivating.
Yeah, we have those runners that's all they do is run, and they don't cross train and things like that. And I wouldn't say, oh, well, you can't, don't need, oh, you need to do something else or whatever. But I share what we do at CrossFit, and I've actually had some people say, I want to try it. And I'm like, oh yeah, come on, let's, try it out on a Saturday when it's free or whatever. And, I encourage them to do it. And then it's kind of funny, in the last few years, they've come around and said, well, I heard it's really good for your core and it helps strengthen your core and everything. And I'm like, yeah, it does. I've been trying to tell you that. But some people, they're strictly runners, and we respect that. And if they want to do a 7-minute mile, I'm like, see ya, I'll see you. You be there. Can you be there with some water for me at the end? And
right.
But and we have some groups that meet also during the week too. Anytime anybody wants to post a run, they can. And we have a group we call the Vampires, because they run when it's really dark and cold
4 or 5
and early in the morning.
People.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
Amanda.
well, you're welcome to go run with them.
Not us. 8
And
o'clock.
they're awesome, but we always kid with them and call them the Vampires. And so sometimes when they actually do run and we see them during daylight, we're like, oh, you exist, you really do, and you're in the daylight.
But it's got to be so motivating for people that are just new to it when you get on Facebook, and look at that this group's posting. And then, like, when we come at 8 o'clock to run, sometimes they're getting back and they're, and then we get done and we post pictures and stuff. And a lot of people have come and said, I just want to be a part of that. I run a little bit, but then they come run with the group. And my buddy Ray, I remember the first time he came, I think the longest he's run is like 9 or 10 miles. And now he does marathons all the time. It's
we
fascinating.
were running a really long run that day. I want to say it was maybe 12 miles.
Yeah, or 14 or something.
It was more, and he just happened to come, and then he just stayed with us. We were like, wait a minute, I thought you said you hadn't run more than this.
He PR'd
I haven't.
the first day he came.
And he just kept going. And it was cute because he was overdressed. He was way overdressed. Remember, It was cold, but he just had tons of clothes on. And I'm just like, oh man, aren't you hot? I was like sweating.
He doesn't do that anymore.
Going, take your clothes off. Yeah, he runs more appropriately now, dressed.
How many people are in the group?
We were looking on the Desoto Runners Club page on Facebook. It's up to 540. Now, a lot of these people we've never seen. These are people. Some people get on here and they just, sometimes I travel and I'm in the South Haven or Olive Branch area and I need a place to run, or people to run with. Can I come join you? And so I'll add them to the group. And so we don't see 500 people, trust me. But I mean,
540 people following.
It's
Yeah,
540
but it's
people that
following.
you're touching
Yes,
to some
exactly.
extent. And that was the point that I was getting at.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that I'm sure have never been on a run before, but they're watching. And it helps to see that. It helps to see people smiling, and it helps to see people running together. And at some point, they'll stick their head out of their shell and find out that, it's life altering.
Yeah, we've had some people, that said, well, I'm overweight, or all I can do is run, walk. And I'm like, so what? Come. I was like, not all of us have the typical runner's body. And, some of us are big. I don't. But we're all different shapes and sizes. And I've had people come and they're like, thank you so much. Or I'll run back and check on. She'll be like, oh, leave me, just leave me. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to come back and check on you. And then, I'll make sure she's okay or he's okay. And then we'll carry on. But I think it's knowing that other people care, that other people are willing to walk with you when you need to walk. And and aren't just going to leave you in the dust and or make you feel unworthy or, not as good a runner as the next person.
So how do you be a part of the Desoto Runners Club if somebody wanted to join or wanted to run with y'all?
Well, they can just get on Facebook and look us up, and we'll put you on the page. And we got to make sure you're not somebody selling Ray-Bans like we've had some people.
A lot of people selling Ray-Bans.
We do, and then you'll get
That's
the occasional.
Lift Heavy Run Long athletes page has some Ray-Bans selling fellas.
Like you can get them.
And all
Vietnam
of a
want to
sudden
be a
they're
member.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure they're in this area, at least in the United States. Yeah, that's important. And then I'll put them on. But
And just watch it. I mean, we have the runs every Saturday, and then here this time of year, the weekday runs crank up, and there's always races posted. There's a lot of tangents that have happened off of it too, with all the things that we do for St. Jude, and I think so many people we know do either the half or the full or even the 5K or the 10K at St. Jude. So I encourage people to do that, and we've got involved with the Chris Hope group and the
Team Hope.
A lot of people do that too. So once you get on the page, it could take you a lot of different directions to what you want to do. A lot of CrossFitters, a lot of people do
groups.
different things at the DAC. So it's cool. It's a good resource.
And different people, somebody might be running in Olive Branch at 5 a.m. at Olive Branch Park. And then another person says, oh, well, I'm going to run tonight at 4, or whatever. Anybody want to join me? So, and you feel comfortable, joining these people or meeting up with people. And we've had many a person come and we've never seen them. And they're just like, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I don't run very fast. And they're a little nervous. And then they end up being the person who runs like an 8-minute mile. And I'm like, you told me you didn't run very fast. I was like, what the world?
Wait for us.
Yeah, I'm like, nice seeing you. I'm glad you joined. But, we at one point in time, we were affiliated with Full Motion Running and Cycling, and when the running club, running store that was in Olive Branch.
That was so great.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, and that was through Matt Hall, and he really helped us.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so at one point we did charge like $25. Everybody got a shirt and everything, but they also got a discount at the store. So when the store closed, we didn't feel like we could charge people to join. That's just not fair. And but they can buy a shirt and a bumper sticker, and or they can just come run. We just say come. You don't have to join now. I mean, because they don't have any discounts really to give them. Now,
Gary charged me $50 and made me take a test.
Did he time your mile?
Yeah, 6.5-minute mile. You're not in.
He said maybe next year.
And then he said, no, sorry, you can't be in the group.
Next year.
Draw the line somewhere.
Yeah. You didn't make the cut. Sorry.
Come back next year with $75, and we'll time you in the mile again.
Now, we have gotten discounts through Starting Gun Events with Amanda Drawmiller. She was gracious to do some discounts for the Desoto Runners Club.
Another fantastic organization.
Yes,
big
very
time.
much
We got
so.
one
And
for
we
the
enjoy
Twig too with Angie Owen.
Yeah, Angie Owen. She has been gracious to give us a discount on her races. So we do get local. We're looking in to talk. We tried to talk to somebody at Fleet Feet. And tried to talk to Breakaway, because they'll always, you go and buy shoes and they always say, oh, do you have the MRTC code, or are you one of the members? And I'm like, no, I'm not a member of that, but I'm a member of the Desoto Runners Club. And they're like, what? And I'm like, we would sure love a discount, and we're really small, but
so if you see this, call us.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, for sure.
500 people does not seem really small to me at all, especially when you think that it's DeSoto County's Runners Club. I mean, that's a concentrated group of people in a small area.
And there are a lot of athletes in this area. Like, it's crazy. Like endurance athletes in particular, runners, cyclists, all over the place around here. So.
Yeah.
And it's changed so much over those 8 years. I mean, just to see what's happened with LHRL and all the CrossFit gyms and this club, it's just really evolved. It just seems like the community is so strong in every aspect of it with fitness. It's cool.
It's just like with CrossFit gyms. I mean, I feel like I'm friends with people from all different types of different CrossFit boxes, and same thing with I know people who run 50-mile races and ultras and all that kind of thing, and that's not my cup of tea, but maybe someday, I don't know. Y'all are trying to talk me into a trail run.
We're going to be talking a little bit about that before this show's over with. Well, you had said something about the typical runner's body. I think it would be beneficial for everybody out there to see what an actual typical runner's body is. If they come to some of these group events, they'll see that there's not one.
There isn't.
And the best way to be proven wrong is to go to a race and judge someone's time by how they look. And you'll see some of these big boys can scoot and big girls can scoot.
Oh, yeah.
And some of these, lighter, more fit people aren't necessarily, really fast runners. That it's important to just get out there and move around.
Yeah.
And you can show up to a run like this and just, hey, I don't know anybody, don't have any idea what I'm doing, and show me how to do it. And you can go as slow or as fast as you want to go. I've joined you before and, made it clear that y'all go ahead and do your thing, and I'm going to sit back and do my thing and probably go a different direction. And, it's just nice to start out with somebody, and it's nice to know that somebody's going through what you're going through, even if they're not in eye shot of you.
Yeah, I don't like suffering alone. I'd rather suffer with other people.
Misery loves company.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I've been, in fact, I have been running with, I've got a friend of mine running with me now, and I believe y'all know her, Laura Jean.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
She's on week 3 of Couch to 5K.
That makes me so happy.
Yes,
good for her.
And I thought she might kill me last night because the third week it ups the run to 3 minutes at one point, and she was like, and I said, "Don't look at your phone. Don't look at your phone."
That's the worst thing
I was
you do
like,
is
"You're
look at your
doing
watch.
it. You got it." I was like, "Don't look at it." I said, "Just listen for the ding."
Right.
But she's doing so good, and we're having so much fun.
She is so tough.
She's awesome.
That is awesome. And what an inspiration she would be. She's got such a light about her. I mean, she's just such a great person that she'd be really welcoming. She'd be a person that you would like to see out there at the races and get people into the community.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. She's awesome. We've enjoyed each other, and she thanks me all the time. And I said, "No, thank you." I was like, "Do you realize what you're doing for me?"
Yeah.
I was like, "This helps me too." I said, "Just because I've run half marathons and one marathon or done this and done that doesn't mean I'm a perfect runner by any means." We've talked about Vaughn. I told her, I said, I went to one of his running classes and thought I knew what I was doing. I said, but a couple minutes into the run, I'm like back to my normal running. But, I said, you can always, there's room for improvement all the time. So I enjoyed running with her. And
Well, tell me a little bit about Chris Hope and the Hope Foundation and how that intermingles with DeSoto Running Club. All I know is that he's raised a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
And seems to be only going up from here.
He is just amazing. That's the word for him. I mean, Chris is a great guy. I met him through the DAC. We used to work out together. And then, we all got into the running more. And then he actually got me involved with going to the Target House or Ronald McDonald House and things like that. And we would visit families that he already had gotten to know. And so I would go and play Uno and stuff with the kids. And so then he was like, I'm going to come up with a team. We need a team for the St. Jude half and the full, and we can raise all this money, and because all the teams compete and everything. And so he decided he was going to do that, and then he was still real involved with the kids. And of course, then the more I got involved, I was like, I'm hooked. It's a lot different raising money for something when you get involved with the kids, because it's pretty touching. It'll break your heart. It will. And so he started the Team Hope, and then he decided he also was going to start a foundation because he was doing stuff for kids at St. Jude and stuff like that. Well, St. Jude wants to know what you're doing. They want to be involved too.
Sure.
So he he came up with his foundation, which does things that, like, St. Jude pays for everything for these kids, but there are certain things like getting a parent from another city that's not already there with the child, that maybe the dad had to stay home and work and he wants to come on that weekend to see his child. The Chris Hope Foundation can help get him there, that kind of thing. So they do kind of things that St. Jude won't,
Cool.
Yeah, so it's so worth it. And the Team Hope has raised, I think it was over
100,000.
It was
last year.
150,000 or something crazy like that last year. And you contributed quite a bit, Wilson. You did.
My people contributed quite a bit. All I did was put out an email, and then people responded, and that's the universe chipping in. I was really fortunate.
Like Kathy said, I mean, both the last 2 years, a lot of members of Team Hope have been able to go to the hospital and actually do a tour. Chris has such a good relationship with the hospital, and that's not normal to be able you can't just go knock on the door and walk around the hospital. So we've had the opportunity to visit the last couple of years, and that totally changes, your want to fundraise and your want to be involved. So. And just like the DRC, I mean, the Team Hope doesn't cost anything to join. If you're going to do the St. Jude Marathon, or you're thinking about doing any of the races, when you're on there, you can go to the group name and sign up for Team Hope. We want as many members as we can get. So.
And he seems to really put a lot of his time into this.
I don't know how he does it.
On an altruistic level.
Yeah. He has a full-time job with UPS, and when he's not working, he's all Chris Hope Foundation, St. Jude, going to meet families, letting families cry on his shoulder. I mean, he's just an amazing person. He's truly a great friend. And, I'd be on his foundation. I've been to a few meetings and things like that. I'm not on the actual committee, but maybe after this he'll put me on it. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I try to help him whenever I can, because I mean, and it's so rewarding. I mean, all of this that we're doing is rewarding. It just makes you feel good. It
is. There's so much opportunity in fitness to find internal rewards, to connect with people and really make a difference. It automatically gives you a podium to stand on, to a platform is what I'm trying to say, a platform to connect with people and to, make new friends and form relationships. And
I think about it all the time. I mean, I never would have done any of these things if it wasn't for her and all these different people and the things that you've said over the years. And I mean, so many people have had an impact that make you go do all these crazy things, whether it be a 100-miler or whether it be a guy like me doing a marathon. And that would mean never in a million years I'd think I'd do something like that. And we did. I did one, said never again. Me and Alan Nip crossed the finish line, and you think we'd be hugging and be all happy. We looked at each other and said, never again. That was dumb.
Yeah.
But then she wanted to do one, so we did one together.
And
then we said never again. And now we're thinking about, now we want to do another one. So
never doesn't last too long in the,
it doesn't.
In the fitness world, does
it? Actually, we were supposed to do St. Jude full, and it was the year it was canceled for the ice. And I was heartbroken because I had trained so hard, and I had promised my niece's best friend at her high school graduation. She is a cancer survivor. She had cancer when she was in 7th grade and lost part of her some bone in the bottom of her leg, I forget. And but she had like a metal rod put in, and she has to wear a brace for the rest of her life. And so I had promised her that I would do this at the thing. You know how your emotions get the best of you sometimes. And I just said, I'm running the St. Jude full, and I'm running for you. And I was like, oh, crap, I can't get out of that. I promised Vivian. I said,
and then you turned to me and said, and you're doing it.
And then you're doing it with me. Because I was like, I just promised a cancer survivor that I would do this for her, so I have to do it. So the whole thing was that I was going to take my medal. I'm so sorry. I was going to take my medal, and I was going to give it to her when I finished the race. Well, they canceled it. So I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to have my medal. I won't get to give it to her. And, this sucks. And I was just crying like a baby. And we happened to be at a restaurant with Gary's brother because he was going to run it with us when they canceled it. And I'm boo-hooing.
Me and my brother were like,
So they're like, he was like, get some more drink. Well,
another round.
Yeah. So, but the manager saw me crying and came and bought
Gave us a
us
bunch of free
drinks.
stuff.
And so Gary's brother's like, Matt's
crying.
like, keep crying. And I'm like, this is not funny. I'm seriously crying. I'm upset about this.
So I got to brag on him, though. So me and my brother did not get up the next morning and run. It was like 20 degrees, but her and a group of maybe 10 or 12 St. Jude runners went down to Hernando and ran a half marathon on their own in such cold weather that their water belts were turning into slush.
My water bottle was slushing.
And so you could probably tell it better than I can, but apparently you guys came back to the car and there was a note on one of the cars, right? From
We
a
were
mother.
all wearing our St. Jude bibs. We wore the bibs, and we had a couple people that were walking out of their house or something that would wave at us and stuff. But it was so cold. But we got done, and, we were all like, thank God that wasn't a full. I only could do 13. I was like, that was horrible. But we get back, and a friend of mine goes to her car, and she's like, what's this? Well, and now I'm going to cry.
Please do.
There was a note on her car from a mother of a St. Jude cancer survivor. And she said, I saw y'all running with your bibs
that's
on.
awesome.
And she said, thank you so much. She goes, for y'all to come out in the ice and the freezing weather and still run. She goes, this means so much to me. And we were just bawling. Just grown men were bawling. We were all just, and it was so awesome. Hush.
So she brought the picture of the
I was going to say, yes, that's a big deal because
It was
amazing.
so awesome. I mean,
That
what
is
do you
so
do? It
awesome.
was like, we were just like, wow, I'm so glad we did that. I mean, just look what happened. I mean, it was just amazing. So, but yeah, so we ended up getting to transfer our bibs to the New Orleans, and that's what we ended up doing. Was the New Orleans full marathon,
That was great.
and it was, but everything hurt, everything.
That St. Jude marathon is a powerful thing, and it really
was.
you can really get lost as to why you're doing it. Even in the fundraising, there was times where I would feel like I don't want to bother people again with asking for money, and I had to stop and think, this has nothing to do with me. The raising of the money has nothing to do with me. And if my asking makes someone uncomfortable, that's theirs to deal with. And, the whole race has nothing to do with me.
Exactly.
And then getting to go through that experience and kind of learn what it's all about and feel what it's all about, it really makes you feel fortunate to be able to run.
Wilson, I sat there as we signed up just the other day, and I was like, you know what? This year I'm just going to not sign up as a hero because exactly what you're saying, because she's sending out solicitation for people to donate. Everybody we know is signed up as a hero. But as soon as you're sitting there logging in, are you crazy? Because what if I raise $1 more? What if I raise $5 more? And if it gets to that point where I haven't raised $1, then we'll pay it. So it's just it's a great cause.
And the cool thing about not being able to do the St. Jude was St. Jude did give you the option of getting your medal if you wanted your medal still, even though we didn't get to do it. So I had written them an email and said, this is for a St. Jude cancer survivor. And so they sent the medal to her for me. So Vivian,
that was nice.
Vivian got a St. Jude
Oh,
medal,
that's awesome.
and I got to keep my New Orleans medal because I was like, I'm keeping that one. But so we both got a medal.
People
But,
do things like
Nice.
that for you. Only you can cry in a bar and they send you more drinks. Every time I start crying in a bar, they threw me out or promptly had me arrested.
no free drinks for you, sir. I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
we get the bouncer out.
But I'm so sad. All right, so we said that we're going to talk about the Tunnel Hill 50 miler that Amanda and I are going to do, and Vaughn signed up for the Tunnel Hill 100 miler.
Yep.
And Gary, there's a whole world out there for you that
Oh, no. Here we go.
I really want you to be a part of.
Since
And
he's a
Kathy,
triathlete.
he's a triathlete. He's just an
not,
athlete in general. And I think that the trail running is such a wonderful thing. And I think that you would love it so much. And I've talked to you before about trying to get you to kind of get into this. And I just want to get you doing this kind
And
of
with
thing.
Tunnel Hill, it's so flat and fun and nice.
soft.
And that's sarcasm, isn't it?
No,
No,
I'm dead
it really
serious.
is?
Yeah.
Tunnel Hill is on a abandoned train track. So the 2% grade is the highest
Yeah.
grade that there is, and it's crushed
Crushed gravel.
limestone.
It's pretty soft.
crushed
Really? You're
limestone.
Forgetting the important point, though. It's 50 miles on that.
But you can jump off at any time.
Yeah.
You can just stop at any time. And you have
That's true.
30 hours to complete the race. There were people out there, people faster than I was, that power walked the whole time.
Really?
There was
cool.
a gentleman out there who had been hit by a drunk driver that could no longer run, and he went out there, signed up for the 100, was pretty sure that he wouldn't make the 100-mile cutoff, but was going to walk as far as, see how far he could get in the 30 hours. And, there was a couple that was probably, I don't know, this guy was probably 70 and his wife, and they power walked, and, we'd blow past them, and then they'd come up a little bit, and we'd blow past
wow.
them, and then
Just slow and steady.
I
after a
wanna
while,
know
they
their
So at the end, they
they
passed
they
it.
went on past.
Yeah.
Golly.
That's cool.
Yeah, I need their secret.
Yeah.
And it's just a different deal. It's not it can be. It can be as fast as you want to run, obviously, but, that trail running and things like that is not the feeling, not the suffocating feeling that you get at a marathon that you have to, there's this time that you got to keep up with. There's a lot of experience.
When I was training for the St. Jude Full that one year, I did the Wade's Big Adventure, the 18-miler, and it is a completely different experience.
Yeah, that's a fun race.
It's a really fun race. So maybe I could be talking
Maybe I
some
could
things. Not
start
going to
with
come in
that
here in
one
front of the camera, but let's talk off
So you
camera.
could probably be talking to Wade's Big Adventure, probably be talking to
talking to some
Stanky
stuff.
Creek, 25K
Absolutely.
or 50K.
Absolutely.
And then we can
Yeah.
continue our relationship from there. And see where it
Absolutely,
takes us.
absolutely. I mean, it's a good time right now because Kathy can attest to this. I mean, we did back-to-back halves 3 or 4 weeks ago. We've never done that before, and coming out of that second one, I got the bug again, and it's amazing how that happens. You lose it so easy, but that's been the great thing about the club because it keeps you still going. But I'm in that point right now where it's like, oh, I want to sign up. We signed up for the Navy Nautical, which we've never done before. We're excited
good.
about
Oh, it's
that.
so fun. I
I
love
should
that
probably
course.
do
It
that
is. I
this year.
haven't really.
Yeah.
I haven't
I've
heard
never
anybody
done
call
it.
it fun.
We've never done it
Oh,
over all
really?
these years.
Yeah.
It's hot, but it's a good course.
Okay.
I like it.
And it's more like a half marathon, right?
I think it
Yeah,
is.
feels
it's
more
like
like a
11
half-
miles,
11.3,
11 and a half miles or something like
11
that.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. I'm looking
11.8,
forward to it.
11.3, something.
Well, we've been telling people we'd do it, and the medal's cool. So
Yeah, why not?
Isn't it funny how you start to get out of that circle and you start to burn out, and that's why I enjoy having CrossFit and running, because I have to be on one thing all the time, but once I'm done with that thing, I feel like I'm done with it, and so I'll get tired of running, and then I'll squat one day and be like, ooh, I just want to squat all the time. I just want to squat. And I'll squat for a while, and I'll be like, oh, I think I'd like to go for a run. And then I run. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what I want to do. But it's important not to get entirely out of the circle.
Yep.
You feel like I just want to lay down and just not do this at all, and just, hang in there, and something will click and get you back into it.
No, for sure.
So y'all been talking about CrossFit. How long have y'all CrossFitted for?
So I started. I've said Alan's name a couple times, but he and I and Kathy were going to the DAC we were doing team training with Marquetta, and that was going really good for us. And heard about this CrossFit thing. I think you had opened up, and then DeSoto opened up, and Alan started going there, and he finally convinced me. You know how it is when you're not doing it. You're like, I am not coming over there. You guys are crazy. All that weightlifting. That's never been my thing.
So stupid.
So he finally
You're gonna
convinces
hurt
me to
yourself.
go, and he says it's not going to be a lot of weightlifting. Don't worry. And the very first day, it's
all
It's the 100 snatch one. It's 100 snatches. That's all we did. I don't even know what a snatch was.
It's not
I
going
got
to
to
be
do
any
100 of them.
weightlifting. It's all weightlifting.
So that was the first time. I think it was probably, I don't even know how long it's been, 3.5, 4 years ago. And so I did it maybe for a year and a half, and then you decided to give it a try through the.
It's 3 years this month.
Okay, so it's
for
4.
me.
Yeah, 4 for me. Mm-hmm. And you
Nice.
decided to come
Yeah.
on doing the 101 class, and
It was like a couch stuff to CrossFit or 101. It was called 101 back then, but they had a Groupon for it, and it was like $49. And so I said, okay. I was like, because I would go out to dinner with these guys, and all they're doing, oh, we did this, and we, snatches and cleans, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
The secret language.
And I felt so left out. I'm like, can we talk about running? We do know all about that, but and they're like, come on, you got to do it. And I'm like, no, I will hurt myself. And at the time I had shoulder surgery, so I was like, no, I'm going to hurt myself. But they had the Groupon, and so I said, okay, I'm going to sign up for this 101 class. I said, but if I cannot stand it, I said, you will never mention CrossFit to me again. Let me stay at the deck. Let me do my classes and leave me alone. And he's like, deal. And so obviously
here we are.
Here I am. So
we love it. It's just like the Runners Club. I mean, the accountability, friendship. Mm-hmm. I mean, you go in there and you see, I mean, just tonight when I was there was 3 or 4 people that they walk in, you're just like, dude, you haven't seen them in a long time, and it's just the best. And then you go knock out the workout, and it's there's nothing like it.
How do you balance that with the running?
I pretty much, I mean, every race I've done, I do the Saturday runs, maybe get one other run in the week, and then the rest of it's CrossFit. It really, I've found it, only in halves. And even when we did the full training, we didn't do the full, where you're doing 3 or 4 runs during the week. It was always supplemented with CrossFit. I have found as you get longer in the distance, at least for me, I do got to cut it off, Wednesday or Thursday to be able to have a successful long run on Saturday. I can't go out and do something crazy Thursday and Friday with a bunch of weightlifting or some crazy workout. But, I travel a lot for work, so my situation is a lot different than other people. Yeah, my balance is terrible because it's never normal. I go at different times, and there's never a consistency for me. So,
what about as far as a plan? Are you on a strict plan, or you just kind of do?
Just kind of do.
I like that.
We're fly by the seat of your pants kind of people, I guess.
We are too.
And when we were training for St. Jude, I would try to get some during the week. I'd say, okay, I've got to get some runs in. So I'd try to do like a Tuesday, Thursday, 4:30, and people from the running group would meet me, and we'd do a certain amount. Only do like 3 or 4 miles during the week a couple of times, and then I always skipped CrossFit on Fridays, because I wanted to have fresh legs on Saturday so that we could run our longer runs. And that was just me because I would feel the deadlifts. I would feel I'd be like, oh, God, I really shouldn't have done that, yesterday or whatever. So, but that, and I know it's not the typical running plan, but it's worked for us. And like I said, I'm not as serious about the PRs and all that right now. And
I've always said that, since I've been in CrossFit, I could if you're on a good CrossFit program, which you are at DeSoto CrossFit, and you've been doing it for 6 months or more, you could just pick a half marathon and go run it.
That's what our coach does. I mean,
I don't have a problem I was talking to a girl earlier today who has goals, like want to be faster at the half marathon. But and I was telling her, well, if you just want to go run a half marathon, just go run it. You've been doing CrossFit for 5 years. There's no reason why you can't just go do it. If you want to run a marathon or, an ultra marathon or something, those are a little different. But I'm so confident in a good CrossFit program that I can just pull you out and put you in a half marathon and you can go do it. Yeah. I mean, maybe you run a couple of times if you want on the weekends. Do what you want to do, but for a half marathon, you should be golden.
And think about all the running that they incorporate in CrossFit.
Right.
I mean, all these workouts. I mean, you're lifting. You're doing a weightlifting skill, and then all of a sudden you got to run 200 meters.
Right.
Or you got to run 400 meters.
We run a lot more than people think we do.
Yeah, we really do. Yeah. And if you had a watch on and you clocked, or if you go back and count the meters, you're like, that was 1.5 miles. It was a hard workout with cleans and this, that, and the other, or burpees and running. I mean, think about what you just did. I mean,
this LHRL concept works good.
Yeah.
It does.
Good idea, guys.
Well, and I think about how much running doesn't get done for fear of not running correctly. And I don't mean form. I mean not following a program and I realize there's something to be said for having a program and this is coming from a guy who's not a very good runner, but I do think it's important to, if it's between doing nothing and getting out there and just running with no program at all, get out there and just run. And then let everything take care of your legs, and your body will tell you what you need to do. But I think some people feel like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure out my plan. And the plan needs to be just show up to a box or show up to a run or get signed up and just go.
Right.
And then let everything else work
fall into
itself out
place
there. So, and Desoto Runners Club helps to do that.
It really does.
And with that, is there anything else that y'all would like to talk about?
You have to ask them the question, what is your bliss?
You want to ask them that question?
That's your question.
What do both of y'all do? What do you said you travel a lot. What do you do for a living?
I'm in the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Go drugs.
Yeah, I'm all about some drugs.
Good drugs.
And I'm a substitute special ed teacher.
I
I was a full-time special ed teacher for almost 18 years, and now I'm just a sub. But
Just a sub.
yeah,
But
I just got off of a full-time sub job since January, so Tuesday was my last day as their full-time teacher, which made me kind of sad. But so now I'm back to being able to sub. I work for an early childhood program called Harwood in Memphis. It's a small program, nonprofit, little bitties.
Well, my favorite question to ask on the podcast is, if time and money were not an issue, what would you do with your life? What is your bliss? If you could do anything in the world that you wanted to do and time and money were not a factor.
Oh, gosh.
And if you're already doing it, that's okay too.
probably wouldn't run 50 miles, but we
Be
can still
Forrest
talk about
Gump
that.
and just keep going
Yeah,
and
just keep going.
just keep running and
Well,
running.
we find that some people are closer to living that than they
Well,
really know.
that's probably what we're both thinking. And we travel more than we already
Yeah.
do, but there's a lot of cool places out there, a lot of cool places to run. We have had the opportunity to run in Central Park or run on some cool beaches and stuff. So travel a little bit more to some fun spots like that. But we like hanging out with each other. We like hanging out with our kids. So just more of that, a whole lot more of that if money was not an issue.
When y'all travel, is running in your destination a lot of the times?
Not the destination necessarily, but it's
Run on top of a cruise ship.
we've been people look at us like we're crazy. One year didn't we try to run a half marathon, like not at one point on the track in the
Yeah,
cruise
he
ship.
thought it would be cool to go around on their track.
But it was like a 4-day cruise, and we wanted
Oh my
we wanted to
gosh.
run a marathon. We were going to run on the whole cruise.
That's
run
because we were
26 miles.
training actually,
Yeah.
and it was only a couple of weeks until the St. Jude or something, or some race that we were doing. Oh, it was New Orleans.
Yeah.
And so we were like, let's try to get, see if we can do a half marathon. Didn't happen.
But that is pretty cool when you're out in the middle of the ocean.
Too
and
much fun.
You're running on a track
much
in the middle of the
food.
I
ocean.
bet that is cool.
It's spectacular.
What kind of laps does that come out to? How many times around?
11
gosh.
times is a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 11
times
That's
is
a
a
big
mile,
ass
so-
boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big track.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can get a little dizzy after a while.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to handle that. I can't do the motion sick thing. What else? Y'all got anything else?
I don't think so.
Well, I really appreciate y'all taking the time to be on the show.
Yeah,
This
thanks,
was
y'all.
fun.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
This is awesome.
Very
Thanks
fun.
for
So glad
doing
y'all
it.
came.
You guys are doing a great thing. This is very cool.
I appreciate
Thank
you saying that.
No,
we
that's
we
okay.
love doing it, and
Yeah.
the feedback has been just fantastic. And I hope that we continue to get in front of people and get with people and be inspired and inspire people.
That's what it's all
Well,
about.
and I enjoy reading your blogs, I guess they would be called, that, they inspire me constantly. I read and just go, wow. It's so awesome. You just have a way with words, and you're real and honest, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. You've always been very supportive of my writing, and that means a great deal to me. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Cool.
All right, LHRL number
right.
49 is in the books.
In the books.
50's
Thank you.
next.
Boom.
That's
50
right.
is next.
All right.